program and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. This is the Business Zone with
Crystal
and
Mitchell.
Coach Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. And folks, we haven't talked in a long time. I've been missing you guys. I don't know what happens to my transmission, but
It's called technology, dude. Technology. But you're back now.
I had some technology issues, guys. So now I'm back, and I'm back, and I'm black, and I'm ready to go. 2024, guys, let's do this thing. So, for those of you who've missed me for a long time, I want you guys to participate today. I want you guys to go to YouTube. I want you to go to Facebook or LinkedIn. Click on the link, log into the show, and give us your feedback. My co-host, how are you doing today?
I am good. And yourself?
I am doing great. We have an amazing guest coming on, so I'm pretty psyched about that.
Yeah, me too. She's really, really cool. I've been following her for a while, and I just love what she does in our community with our businesses. Just her herself. She reminds me of me. And she's just about what she's about, and so I like her. And today we're going to be talking about the journey to equity and leveling the playing field for women. It appears, and we've talked about this since the beginning of the year here, that women appear to be under attack, both in the business world and out of the business world. And so,
well, they're trying to redefine what the woman is, so that's why it's been under attack. And they're going, "What is a woman? Are you a woman? How do you know you're a woman?"
Yeah, right. The sad thing is, Gilbert, why the heck, after however long we've been on this planet, we got to define what a woman is?
You know, this is what I realized, man. When people want to grandstand and gaslight, they will come up with all kinds of stuff that makes no doggone sense. You know, just to gaslight and grandstand to make it look like they're intelligent. But the longer you let them speak, the more you see how idiotic they are.
Right, exactly right. I mean, because every one of us, if we're breathing on this earth, we have a mama. So that was the very first introduction to the woman.
Exactly.
The
It
mama.
is so crazy, man.
The mama, if it wasn't for the mama, none of us would be here alive today. I know I wouldn't be here alive if my mama hadn't been who she was, man. That's how you ate. That's how everything you learn from your mama.
You know what's amazing though? When you're a kid, even as a kid, and when you become a grown adult, and you're doing something, and it's questionable what you're doing, in the back of your mind, you're hearing your mom's voice. It's like, hey, that's not right. What are you doing, right? And when we achieve success or anything, like, who was the first person we give thanks to other than God? Our moms, right?
My mom.
I want to thank my mom for standing with me all this time, right? So we know we got to give the woman the props that she deserves, man. It's just, we can't listen to those grandstanders.
Exactly, because she's the one that you want to celebrate your successes with, your triumphs with. She's the one that you share your pain with when you're hurt. That's the first place you go, is to mama, right?
Yeah.
It all started because you were in her womb, and so it started there. But you know that your Plymouth Rock is your mama, right?
That's for sure. That's for sure. When you had that first boo boo, when you trip and fall and you scratch your knee, right? You didn't run to dad and say, "Dad, I got a boo boo." No. You run straight to mom and say, "Mom," because mom is gonna pretend like she's blowing on it, and by blowing on it, it's gonna get better. Even though you know it's not real, you love it. You want it. You know, you go, okay,
Right.
mom,
So
let's
so
blow
there
on
is
it
no
and make it feel better for me.
right. So there is no need to redefine the woman. She's
Yeah.
always been. And I know with my mom, and we've talked about this before. I mean, my mom just. I mean, I just marveled at how she made things happen when she didn't have
Anything.
anything to make it happen. She also, you never knew. I have so many friends that say, I never knew I was poor.
Yeah.
Man, mama never made me feel like I was poor. I always had a place, a roof over her head. We don't know how she made that happen. We
Yeah.
had food on the table.
Yeah.
She was always there with open arms. She was
Yes.
always there to solve all the problems you had. I mean,
Yes.
you would have a problem and you think like there is just no way they could solve this could be solved, and
Yeah.
then you go tell her and she goes, "Well, baby, let's do it this way, this way, this way." You're like, "Wow,
Mom is a magician, man.
she's
I'm
a
telling
musician."
you, man. See, they, they try to come up with all this stuff, but I don't even listen, man. I don't even listen. All this new wave, modern definitions and philosophies, man. I'm not into that. So I'm old
Yeah,
school. I'm traditional.
right, exactly. And our mothers, they were the caregivers, and that's why I said a woman could
Nurturers.
nurturers that she could easily be the president. She didn't balance books. She didn't
Yeah.
balance
She's the
budget.
accountant. She's a CPA. She's the president, CEO, the marketing, the marketer,
She
everything, man.
she's a mediator. She's
The counselor,
a counselor.
the therapist. She's everything, man.
She was able to balance all her kids. My grandmother had 13 kids,
Yeah.
and she was able to balance. The different personalities. She was a,
Yeah.
and plus to have, manage, be there for her husband. That person, that
Yeah. That's
little
a
lady,
superwoman right
she's
there,
a
man.
superwoman. So
That's why I
anyone,
give you your cape, co-host. I give you your cape because I know you're a superwoman. I see what you do, and we're here to give our guest that's coming on to in a few minutes. We're here to give her cape too because she's
exactly.
been doing some amazing things in the community. We talk about legacy businesses, legacy small businesses. She is a legacy personnel in the community, man. She's done some stuff that you know, it has made some changes. Even though she's working behind the scene, people don't even know what she does, but they're seeing the impact, the results. So we'll talk about
Exactly.
those today.
And she also, her impact as well in the C suites, before she actually even got to the community.
Explain to our audience, Crystal, what the C-suite is, and so they can get a better understanding of what it is and its significance.
No, so that's in corporate America where you've actually reached to that supervisor management, standpoint where you have a voice and you're making a difference within the company that you're working in. Uh, in some companies there is a glass ceiling, but where they are, and generally, when I was in corporate America, those women didn't get the recognition of the flowers. Generally, they still were looked at in the supportive space, but however, they were the ones that were really making the moves. They were the ones that were guiding the energies of the organization. And I'm sure when Robin comes on, she can give you more of that. But that's what I saw from where I was working. But I was always, I didn't stay there long enough to see all of that because I got out, 15 years into the corporate world was enough for me. That was not my goal to get up there to that level. So I was,
Right,
I was making moves to get out
right,
before that 15 years even took place. I wasn't learning the ropes, but I do understand that there's a whole culture and a whole you gotta have some skills just to interact on that level and to be able to navigate your way through there. So that was not going to be my journey.
right.
So I never learned those skills, but I know she did,
Yeah,
and so can't wait to introduce her to you.
yeah,
But before we do
definitely.
that, how was your week? We're gonna.
Oh man, my week was kind of crazy. I've had that. I've had that one client that I've been telling you about since last year, the year before,
Mm-hmm.
man. That they're kind of unruly. They don't like to follow the rules.
Mm.
So so I am very conflicted because you know me. I'm a compliance person. I'm about doing the right thing, doing make sure things are done properly. But now I got to represent them. So it's like a defense attorney representing a criminal. You know it's a criminal. You know it's a criminal, and you're not supposed to be defending the wrong thing, but you gotta defend him because it's your responsibility as the consultant. You see what I'm saying? They don't listen, man. They don't listen. I tell them, I give them a checklist. I tell them what to do, what not to do. They don't listen to what not to do. They keep doing what not to do. I saved these
What
guys over
not to do?
200 grand. I've saved these guys over 200 grand since June of 2022, right? I
Wow, that's a
saved them
lot.
200. Yes, because they haven't been paying their workers on time. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. So I have to go in, I have to, navigate and do some special things. But at the same time, man, I got my reputation on the line because I don't want it to be said in this community that, oh, Gilbert is supposed to be following labor compliance rules, and he's not doing that. He's helping this company to get away with it. So I'm ready to throw in the towel, man. I'm ready to say, hey, throw them at the wolves and say, hey, wolves, have them, man. They're not complying.
I had a client like that last year, and it's like, whoa, this is just, sometimes we get that client, and you have mine's actually worked out for itself,
Yeah,
but it was quite stressful,
yeah.
especially when it goes against who you are. You're right. If
Yes,
you're going
yes,
against who you are, you
yes,
know who is always in that situation are HR managers and
yes,
directors because
yes,
they are coming from they want to be there supportive for the employee, but
yeah.
their
But
paycheck is coming from the
from the
employer.
employer, right? And the employer doing a lot of bad things that they have to defend. It's like,
Yeah, it's a rough one. I understand that
so
well.
that's what I had to deal with, man. And like I say, the money is good. I like the fact I like it. It's a nice contract. Um, but I'm gonna have to sever my ties, man, because at some point I know God is gonna say, "Okay, Gilbert, you knew you were supposed to do some good stuff. Did you do those good things?" And then what am I gonna say to him? I'm sorry, I'm looking. Give me an excuse here. No, I knew better. So I'm
Right.
just gonna have to kick them to the curb, man. I'm
And
sorry.
that's so funny because obviously in my core business, the accounting piece, I always have to make sure I'm standing on. I told somebody recently they were trying to push me to do something. I'm like, okay, I had to use the defense that they use for Trump. According to the general accounting, accepted the general accounting principles,
I love it.
this is the way I have to do this. I had to go to the to Gap in order to back them off. It's like, look,
So I'm gonna have to start saying, according to the professional services practitioners guideline, I can no longer do this.
right, exactly. Because ultimately it comes down to one, you got to feel good about what you're doing,
Yeah,
especially in our capacity. We're not working for a governing body that tells
right,
us, or our paycheck it is predicated on our performance, but we ain't working for you. We're not working for you. We're
right.
working with you.
Exactly,
That's
exactly,
the
man.
difference. So
Exactly.
I totally get that. Well, my week was actually pretty good. It do you realize it is always already January 26th?
It's almost the end of the month, man, which tells me that I need to get my Cover California medical thing taken care of. And I'm supposed to do that Medicare thing too,
You're supposed to be
right?
doing the Medicare thing, but either or, you need to be doing it right now.
Yeah,
You're in another you're actually in open enrollment if you miss your first open enrollment,
Yeah.
which was to December.
December 7th, right?
Right. So now they're in open enrollment to March 15th. So you
Y-
need to take care of that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know you're getting all them. I know you're getting tons of calls from the Medicare people because they
You
call
know,
you like,
some people call me. They never identify themselves as Medicare. They said
that's what
some.
they are.
They said some medical whatever they are, right?
Yeah, that's what they are. They're calling you to give you your options,
Oh,
to
okay.
tell you basically they're supporting their company, but
Oh,
they will give you everything you need to know to understand Medicare and how you sign up. But yes, they
oh,
are supporting their particular company.
oh,
But
okay.
there's a general guideline just for Medicare themselves. So you got to do that.
Okay.
Another thing that's looming as of January 31st for anyone that had 1099 contractors, your 1099 contract, your forms have to be out by the 31st.
Oh,
So everybody needs to get that done if you have not done.
go ahead and repeat that again, co-host, so
Yeah,
they
so
can
if
hear.
you actually have contractors that earned over $600, $601 to be exact, then those are contractors, and you need, if you haven't done it, hopefully your tax person, your CPA, your somebody has done it. Put together those contractors
The
and got
1099
they get
forms, right?
getting their 1099s, process their 1099s to send them out. So that's what I was working on this week. I have a couple of clients, so they will be going out tomorrow,
Yeah.
for dropping those in the mail. The other thing, if you're doing business in the city of Los Angeles, your business tax
Tax.
is
Yeah.
due. Your what is it called? The
BRTC, Business
BRT.
Tax Registration Certificate.
Yeah, so you should have, if you had not gotten your yellow card
Yep, I got
from the
mine.
from the city of Los Angeles, you really truly need to do that. So your deadline for that one is February 29th. I did mine yesterday. If you're making even if so $50,000 or more, you still have to file.
I
I
think
think
it's
you
a
still have to
hundred
file
thousand, isn't it?
if you don't make no money, right?
I think it's 100,000 or
Yeah,
less, isn't it?
$100,000.
Yeah.
Um, you won't pay any. You won't be. They won't
You won't be
assess you any.
required to pay any taxes, but you got to file by the deadline. If you don't file by the deadline, guys, you're going to experience what I experienced. They're going to jack you with a $300 tax bill, and you're going to go, wait a second, I made less than 100K. Well, you should have filed.
You should have
that's what
filed.
that's what they did to me when. How long ago was that? Like some 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago.
I think. I think actually everybody got hit with that one, given they
Really?
got two
Did you
hundred
get
dollars
hit with
off the
that
bat.
too?
Yeah, yeah. In the very beginning, I did get hit with that. Uh, yeah. But see, here for me, truly, I do not live in the city of Los Angeles.
I know, but because you do
I live in
business
the
and
unincorporated part of Los Angeles.
yeah,
But however, I do business.
yeah,
My contracts are in Los Angeles, so
right.
one of their requirements is that I am registered with the city of Los
Yeah.
Angeles, especially
And it's
those.
a good thing to do it, maintain it. If you make less than 100K, you don't have to pay, but you got to file. If you make more than 100K, then yes, you pay some taxes, which you're going to get it back anyway, because if you're doing business, you're generating revenues. And sometimes the city of Los Angeles they've got grants or different programs for small businesses that you can participate in and actually win. So whatever you pay for taxes, you're going to get it back anyway once you do those things. You also have the RAMP program. The RAMP is it's an acronym for Procurement and Contracting Opportunity, a database that the city of Los Angeles has. And in there, there's a lot of contract opportunities, small businesses, small and micro businesses. So just so you know, we're speaking to small and micro businesses on this program. If you're a mid-sized business or a large business, not really speaking to you guys, but you guys can also be an ally, an affiliate. You can help out the smaller businesses as well. If you have contracts that you want to subcontract to them, then you can funnel it through us, talk to us, and we can help to train and prepare those businesses for you so that they can comply and everybody is a winner.
Right, exactly. So, but compliance is all a part of doing business, especially if you're doing business the right way. So, for those of you, so put that on your calendar, February 29th. If you already have done your financials, you already know how much money you made in 2023. Just go and do it right now, just so you don't have to be thinking about that. Then you don't get hit with that $300 assessment. $384, I believe it is.
384, it went up.
Yeah.
Mine was $300 and they jacked me the last time. And I had the nerve to go into the city's office and say, no, you should not charge me this $300 because I made less than 100K last year. And the lady said, did you file? I said, no. She said, okay, that's where you made your mistake. I was so embarrassed, man. I had my tail between my legs walking out of there because I went in puffing up my chest like I'm gonna cuss these people out because
you didn't even call. You went.
I went down there, man, puffing up my chest. I'm going, hey, what do you guys mean charging me $300 for not paying taxes when I only made less than 100K last year? And in a nice, calm voice. In a nice, calm voice, she say, "But sir, did you file?" I said, "No." She said, "All right, that's
Okay,
where
then.
you messed up. Now get the hell out of my face and go pay it."
Right, exactly. So make sure you guys do that. Make sure you get your 1099s done. You have to get that to the IRS by February 3rd. So, the clock is ticking. You still have time to get your books together because by April 15th, and this year I guess it is the 15th, I doubt very seriously if you're going to get a leeway like they did last year. They actually extended taxes all the way to October, and then they even came back and extended it another month. So
Yeah,
unless these earthquakes we're having damages something, y'all
yeah.
gonna have to get your taxes in on time this year. So be ready in advance. I
And I
would
want to
say,
slide. I want to slide this one in there too, co-host.
what's that?
So Crystal tells you about the taxes you got to file with the federal government, the taxes you got to file with the city of Los Angeles. I want to throw in the state of California also. So if you're a corporation or an LLC, you got to file your state tax, your business tax with the state by March 15th, guys. March 15th. That's the corporate tax right there. So if you miss that date, you have no excuse. It's now January, so you got about a month and close to a half right there. So you make sure you file that taxes because if you don't file that $800 that you're supposed to pay, guys, that's going to come with late fees and penalties, and you're not going to like it. If it accumulates up to $4,000, because they usually wait until it accumulates to like $4,000, then they put a block on your account. Then they make your account inactive, so you can't really do business anymore. So keep that in mind, guys. Okay, so
All right.
Crystal told you about the IRS tax you got to file. She also tell you about the city of Los Angeles business tax you got to file. And I'm telling you about the state of Los Angeles tax that you got, the state of California tax that you got to file if you're a corporation or an LLC.
There you go. So there you guys now got the compliance. So we're gonna tell you how you can support our channel and what we need you to do for us, and then we're gonna bring on our guest because she's waiting and we're excited,
Yes.
and we're gonna get this show on the road. So
Yes.
to go over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit a like button if you like what we're doing, and you can take a picture here with the QR code and it'll take you directly to our channel. But if you want to go on your own, you can go over to the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert, hit the subscribe button so that you get notification every week that we're coming on. We are here every Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock, and we have been doing this year in July, 8 years. So you can go over to our channel. We have over 700 videos on every aspect of business that you can find. And someone just scan the QR code.
That was me.
That is.
I want to see if it worked.
That was you.
I want to see if it worked.
All righty. So Gilbert just hit the subscribe button, so you know it works. So go ahead and do that. So with that, we're going to now bring on our guest. Let me make some adjustments over here so she can get the principal screen.
The queen of the minstrel.
Move her over here to where I am and put her right here, put her in the center. Hello, Robin. How are you?
Hello, everybody. What's happening? What's happening?
Miss Robin Billups.
Okay, I kind of rigged up something back here. So,
oh, man, it looks
before
good.
anybody,
It looks good.
Before anybody starts talking about it, I know it's rigged. Okay, I know it's rigged.
But guess what? Guess what? You have a pass on that because you're a mom and moms work magic. So you made magic with that. Okay.
I love what you guys were saying about the moms. You know, my sister, my mom got her wings in 2022, and we literally have been operating on those memories and that foundation and those colloquialisms and those little sayings that she used, and it's just you know, being a Black kid, with a Black mama, you know, being a Black kid with a Black mama, they do numbers on you. And if you're smart, you're going to pay attention to the number that they're doing on you. While you're going through it, you're saying to yourself, "Why do I have to deal with this chick?" You know. But when I'm in that club, my mom got her wings, and when the first time I heard that my mom got her wings, first thing that came to mind was, "Oh my goodness, I'm in that club of folks who don't have a mom." Right? However, my mother lived for 94 years, and her mother died in childbirth.
Oh, wow.
So I had my mom. For the 66 years.
That's amazing.
You know, so yeah. Thank you guys for honoring that.
Yeah, for sure.
You almost feel, and you know you're not because you're grown, but you feel like an orphan. Like all of a sudden,
again,
the foundation has just been pulled out from underneath your feet, and your foundation, your rock of Gibraltar is gone.
Yes.
From the physical.
But in Crystal, with that, the listening, if you listened, and Gilbert, you said this, you can hear your mom talking to you.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. You know, every day. As
soon as you're going somewhere or doing something good or bad. You know, and Rose will say, "Baby, that's good." Mm-hmm. And then Rose will say, "What are you doing?"
Now, Robin, I don't know if you know this, but that was my mother's name.
I think we shared that before.
My mom's name was Rose as well. But
I never called her Rose. Let me say that. You know, she was always Mama.
Oh, you have to call her Mama now. You're not too grown not to be slapped.
It was like
not only slapped, Gilbert, slapped into next week.
Exactly.
Not only did everything just stopped. If you by some chance lost your own mind and called her by her first name, it's like a cartoon. Everything just went stop. It was just
you know, one day I was kind of feeling cheeky with my mom, and I said so. I don't even remember what I said, but I said something. She was like 10, 15 feet away, right? So I'm going, okay, if she's going to try to run after me, she can't catch me because I'm young. I'm like 15 or 16, right? So, and I was playing soccer, so I'm an athlete. So I said something to her, and the next thing I know, I heard, wham! She threw her slippers at me right in my head. I'm going, how did she do that so fast?
And you could not get away.
I couldn't get away.
Right, exactly. So they're superheroes. So they're super. So let me guys tell you about Robin, and then we're gonna turn it over to Robin, and she's gonna talk to us about the leveling the playing field for women and more about herself. Robin Billups, a former banker, spent her formative years as a national commercial real estate construction financing relationship manager. She averaged 150 plus million annually in loan production before creating a national supplier diversity department. Subsequently, she joined the Women's Business Enterprise, the National Council, the WBNC, a team as the National Business Development Manager, recruiting, retaining, and engaging corporate members across a broad spectrum of public and private entities. She has her own company. It's called the Billups Group. She is affectionately known as the connector within the community. She has a motto that says, "Get in where you fit in." And she is the mother. She's married to Kenneth Billups Jr., and she has two adult sons, Ken the third and Jared, with 6 adorable grandchildren. I actually met her son before I met her.
Yeah,
but
same here.
She was circling around,
yeah.
And then I met her cousin, and then finally I got to meet her. So with that, welcome to the Business Zone, Robin. We are so happy and thrilled to have you here today.
I'm delighted to be here. And these two people are two of my favorite people in the business realm, but more importantly, in my friend zone. Because, you know, when you meet like-minded people who are truly committed to elevating our community, elevating our people, educating our people. I'm sometimes people say I'm rigid, and I'm rigid because I've been behind the curtain.
Yeah.
I know how the secret sauce is made, and I know what they like and what they don't like. Mm-hmm. And so I'm delighted to be here. I'm delighted to have this conversation this early in the year because, guys, there's a lot of money on the street. Yes. There is a lot of money on the street. Mm-hmm. And Crystal and Gilbert they're Gilbert, you said something that I love. I'm a compliance person too. You know, my degree is in journalism, and I fell into banking when I could not get a job when I moved here with a degree from the University of Missouri, having worked a 40-hour job the whole 4 years I was in college. I had an internship and a job offer from an advertising agency in Chicago, but my boyfriend put a ring on it the month before graduation, and I was moving to Cali. I was moving to California. So, you know, so that's when I got here, you know, and you guys can understand this too. You know, I'm at that age where I was the only one, you know, the only Black girl, you know, and my mother's whole thing was, you're going. Yeah. I don't care if you're the only one. You're going to go. You better come back with some information.
Yeah.
You'll be able to deliver something back that showed the value of the time that you spent, right? And so to that, I fell into banking as a management trainee. And I think that that's one of the faux pas of industry right now, not having training available for folks. And especially as we come out of COVID and things have changed, and not offering some type of training and or helping people to take the skill set that they have and be able to transfer those skills to what I call next generation activity. Yeah. So yeah, I fell into banking. If I didn't have my HP 12C, I could not do my work. I needed that finance calculator to be able to underwrite those loans. You know. And so when I got to when I was in the training program, I was in there for 8 months, and I did an internship or a special project in HR. I spent 13 weeks on a special project in HR, which helped me understand how corporations operate. I'm 22 years old, newly married from Missouri. They got my little feelings hurt because they didn't pick the Black girl. You know, strictly, this older Black guy told me after 4 interviews with this one company, baby, they're not going to hire you. You're the wrong color.
Dang.
And that freaked me out because I had always been the one who would apply and be the one that they picked. You know? Yeah. And so, however, God has a way of telling us what he wants from us.
Yeah. That was a part of it, experiential journey. That's what that was.
No question about it. And so when I got to lending, the lending part of my training, that's when I realized, to me, lending is storytelling. My job is to tell your story, your credit story, the site, the project, the environment, the community. And I have to sell that story to credit, to appraisal, and to loan administration.
Yes.
And so that's where the moxie comes from. You know, my initial interview with 25 white males on this selection committee. Yeah. Knocked it out the park. They hired me, and the rest is history.
Why did it take so many of them?
Because back in the day, this was the savings and loan business. It was a savings and loan business, and they would ensure that every C-suite member was there, and then their designee. because as you were talking about the C-suite earlier, Crystal, the C-suite doesn't do the work. They orchestrate. They orchestrate. They're the conductor.
Yes.
And so I tell people all the time, if you can't attend, bring a designee. Start creating a bench. Start creating a bench so that when you're not there, things can keep moving.
Right. Robin, have you written a book yet, Robin? Because I'm telling you, you got some nuggets there, man. You got some nuggets, which I believe, man, if you can put in a video or in a book and pass this on to the younger generation, because the younger generation, I don't think they have a clue as to what some of us went through, man, to make life the way it is for them. So we need to have something like that, you know?
I'm working with my god sister. She's a writer. I write personal writing, but we've been talking about that exact same thing because she runs multicultural marketing for a major corporation. And when they were bought by a bigger bank, the team was like, well, why do we need no multicultural marketing? Because in these young people's minds, their friends are Asian and from this country and that country. They went to college with them. So they don't even really know, or I take that back. They don't really accept the fact that if you of a certain age, you got stripes on your back, gray hair in your head, pressure on your shoulders. You know, they don't get that. And then something, then they're making, $150,000, and the next thing you know, they get put out. And then they don't want to tell anybody. No, you're not gonna put me out. You can put you can put me out, but you got to pay me. You got to pay me.
Robin, it's and I was just talking to Dave Ford, actually, from Edison, and I was saying that
great guy,
fantastic guy, and I was just telling them, when we were coming up, there were people that looked like us that were in those C-suites that actually could bring you in, but I don't see that today, and I don't see anyone reaching back down to pull somebody back up, right? And so, from your perspective, how are our young women? And we're talking about women today, not that we're excluding men. We're just talking about women today. How do we help them get to where you are today or where I am today? It was the foundation for me. It was my foundation. I just have a different journey, but corporations are how we actually acquire our experience. Right.
Well, I think that we have a generation of young folks now. They're so highly educated and they've been coddled. They've been coddled. What I tried to do with my children, my husband and I, we just tried to raise them the way we were raised. I don't believe in this word old school. There is the school. And we have to prepare them for the marketplace, right? So with young women, what I always ask them is, what organizations do you belong to? What are your spiritual beliefs? What are your cultural beliefs? Because that tells me where you are mentally. So I know, as we said earlier, so that I know how to meet you where you are, right? And I know the two of you, just like me, we're more than willing to help. But you have to listen to me. You really do have to listen to me. And so when I said earlier that people say, you're rigid, well, I'm very consistent in how I do things and what I say. And so when I'm talking to you, I will say the same thing 5 times. And then they finally said, didn't you just repeat yourself? Now you're listening.
There's a reason for that.
I'm repeating myself because you're not hearing me. And you're so busy trying to think about, how do I counter what she just said? How do I outsmart her? Well, one of the things that I can say to young women is, as I tell my children, I was 25 when I had one, and I was 30 when I had the other. So I got 25 years on you, and I got 30 years on you.
I love it. I love it.
And on the balance of that, it's critically important to me that your circle is made up of every generation, right? And so what tends to happen is these newfangled folks, they only stick with their Gen X or whatever label, whatever label the wonderful people have put on them. Whereas the beautiful people, us, we don't need those labels. We don't succumb to the label. Don't succumb to the trends. Yeah. Because if you do, when that goes out of fashion, then what do you have?
Yes.
Then what? Exactly.
So I'm listening to you, Robin, and I'm watching the screen right now. And I have a partial title for your book. It's called, and I want you to complete it for me. It's called Robin Billups, The Connector. And then underneath that, what would you put underneath that as a subtitle?
That's a good one, Gilbert.
You see what I'm saying? Because you're really the connector, man.
Yeah. Well, you know, and I just as a kid, even like I said, I've known myself since I was 10, so I'm pretty habitual in how I do things, and so making connections. Yeah. I'm the middle kid in my family, so I mastered how to balance that out, right? Yeah. And so I'll have to think about that, Gilbert.
Yeah. So that put that on your homework list, because
I wrote that down.
You gotta write a book, man.
One of the secrets to life is documentation.
Yes.
And taking notes.
You know, they talk about a RUI, like RUI, in the African culture. Mm-hmm. The Rui is the elder person, right? Like a chief or someone like that, who has all the knowledge, right? Or most of the knowledge. So when that person is getting ready to die, they pass on that knowledge to the next person in command, so that they can share it, because you have to keep all of that knowledge within the community, so people know what's going on, and you never lose track of, you know, the culture and all of that. So to me, you're like a Rui right now, and you're packaging all this wisdom and knowledge and getting ready to pass it down to the next generation. Man. Yeah. So I can't wait, because Crystal and I, we can't wait to pick your mind, and that mind you got right there. I know you got more stuff that we're not hearing, but we want to get that.
So I'm going to ask her questions as we get to picking the mind. So why do you think why is it important for women to be part of the corporate world as well as being in their own businesses?
Well, I think that, to your earlier point, the corporate world provides you with the understanding the structure of business, right? Mm-hmm. Understanding the culture of business, understanding how to create a mission statement and a vision statement, and your elevator pitch, and all of these little nuances that go into doing business, right? Mm-hmm. And so with that, when let me back up for a minute. I was the first person in my family to go to college, and I knew I was going. I didn't know where I was going. And then when I found out the University of Missouri was like one of the number one journalism schools in the United States and really in the world, I said, okay, I'm going there. And then I said, I heard this word public relations. I'm going to be in public relations. I get there, they had one class. They had one class. Wow. So corporate allows you to learn how to pivot. Corporate allows you to learn how to obtain marketable skills. Yeah. People go to work to get a check. I go there to obtain marketable skills. Mm-hmm. And then that way, if you need to pivot, if the market moves in a different way, now you have a book of skills, like you have a book of business, like you have a portfolio of assets. Yeah. Now you have something that you can draw on. So I think that the corporate environment is a great place to learn how to mess up. Mm-hmm. So that when you set up your business, now you're setting up your business based on that same kind of structure, right? And
while you're in the corporation, you are getting paid to learn.
Exactly right. Everybody's talking about being a lifelong learner. Yeah. That is critical.
Yes.
It's critical. And COVID taught us a lot about what our deficiencies are and what we need to focus on. Yes. So the young women, to me today, before you decide to set up a business, spend that time in corporate, 2-3 years max. Right. In that time period, if you're purposed and you know what your mission for being there is, then you're gonna spread yourself and engage yourself. And, you know, people say, I see you everywhere. Well, the whole mission is because I'm going there to get some information.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going there to make some connections. I'm going there. Right now I use these electronic business card, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, oh wow, that's so today. I say, well, that's what the young people are doing. And then when I give it to a young person, like, oh, Miss Billups, look at you. Stay relevant. I'm trying to stay relevant, right?
That's right.
But I'm saying that to say I have reams and box loads of business cards that I can't throw away because there's copious notes on those cards.
Yeah.
Right.
Who they were, what they shared with me, where did I meet them? And when you open up your business, now you have a book of business that you can draw from, right?
Exactly. And you being in the banking industry, and especially the lending industry, that's how you build that pipeline, right? Through people that you've met. So you have to learn, because basically you're a salesperson, so you have to learn how to develop those skill sets. And that's why I said when I met, we were circling in each other's in the perimeters of each other's lives, but I knew there was a reason I had to meet her, because she was very much like me. Because I too had the same philosophy about when I go somewhere, I'm going with a purpose to connect with people, because I never know when I'm going to need them down the line or when they're going to need me down the line. So the more I know, the more people I know, the more that will be beneficial for both of us. But also the education. So that was my master's program. Corporate America was my master's.
Exactly.
Right, because I was going into the accounting space. And I did that purposely because I knew that's an industry that is recession proof. But I needed to know how it worked from the inside. So all that information, that education that I learned, that's better than any MBA school out there, because they only teach you theory. I was actually learning practical services and practical ways of doing things to run a business, and what that looks like for the inside. So
Crystal, you said something very profound, very, very profound. Everybody and their mother wants to get a master's and they want to be a doctor, somebody at, XYZ.
Right.
But at the end of the day, those professors who are teaching you have no practical skills, right? So my story, my sister, between me and my baby sister, she's had been in procurement for a long time, and I had just gotten into the supplier diversity realm. And then the blessing for me is my supplier diversity program was actually seated in procurement, right? And so my youngest sister called me. She goes, Rob, Pam has this 77-page paper she needs to write for her master's, and she's having a hard time. And I said, well, tell her to send it to me. She wants to, tell her to send it to me, because I wasn't going to grad school, And so she sent it to me, and I said, Pam, I want you to step back for a minute. You are a practitioner. You are going to be adjudicated by some folks who are just strictly academic. They have not run a business. They have not been a buyer. They have not been a category manager. They have not been where you are. I said, and then, she had asked my sister, well, how did Rob get in procurement? Well, Rob got in procurement. And so I told her, I said, this was 2006. So I said, Pam, supplier diversity is the thing right now. Let me send you all of these links and all of this information. I want you to take this information, digest it, and add it to what you have. And of course, she got her master's, she got an A, she graduated, life was good. But I'm saying all of that to say academics has its place. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. But at the same time, remember, you're literally there to be the practitioner for that information that you're receiving.
See, that's what most people don't understand, that when you garner that academic experience and knowledge, when you go into the workforce, you get to apply that. Now you become the practitioner of the knowledge that you've acquired. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And what you're learning also, you're also learning people dynamics as well. You see what I'm saying? So you're learning all of those things put together. It's just an amazing lesson, man. Amazing lesson.
Well, I just yesterday I moderated a panel, the USC Minority Program of Real Estate Development. I went through that class in 1997, and I've never unplugged from it. The other thing, Crystal, talking about what women can do. What organizations do you belong to? Where do you volunteer? How do you immerse yourself and what you say is important to you.
Yeah.
You
have a mentor.
Mentoring. I was one of the young ladies that I'm coaching. I said to her, I said, there's such thing. You have a mentor, then you have a champion, and then you have a sponsor.
Yeah.
So we were talking. She said, well, he's my champion. I said, no, he's not. He's your sponsor because he's been talking about you upline without you even being present.
Yes.
You know, and so again, it's critical. And so, and when I moderated this panel, and I was telling them, we have a guy in from Birmingham, Alabama. We got some people from Washington, D.C., all across the U.S. and especially Southern California. And one of the things that I always say is, make sure you're aligned with the professional organizations of the industry that you're interested in.
Yeah.
You might be the only one. You might be the only one. Yeah. There might be 5 and there's only 2 real ones.
Yeah, that's true.
That's very, very true. But you have to develop that. And I know, Gilbert, you kind of got into procurement or supplier diversity along that lines as well, right?
Yes.
And it's not like they just open up the door and just welcome you on in.
Oh, no.
No.
See, I started at the mayor's office, City of Los Angeles, and they put me in a position. It was like a basic position. I want you to help these small businesses, help them get certified. It was just one of those little mundane type position, right? But
throw your bone. I call it a throw your bone move. Yeah.
Yes. So then they realized that I was doing so much with these small businesses because not only do I get them registered in the system, because the program was sponsored by the Department of Commerce. Right. So they figure more or less, I'll just do some basic stuff, get people in the database so they can have a list and say, yeah, we got these many small businesses. But what I was doing is not only was I registering them, but I also matching them up with contract opportunities within the city. And that's where I learned that they have 9 general managers at the City of Los Angeles. In all these different departments, because each general manager control a different part of the procurement process.
Yes.
So those are the things that I learned. And that's how we came up. We designed this platform, Robin. I don't know if you know this. We designed this platform called the Bavin, LA Bavin. That's us. We did that in 1999.
I remember. Yeah.
And they now changed it to RAM, but that's what we did back then. And the Department of Commerce, they gave me this award, this big old plaque for registering so many, because they never had so many small businesses registered in there before. And that's how I got started in procurement. Then I went on to Metro and LACCD and LAUSD, and it's just amazing, man. Just amazing.
Well, how I explain it, because again, I'm a construction lender.
Yeah.
Commercial real estate construction lending, 25. I think I've been doing it for like 25 years, right? Yes. And I turned 50 and I say, you know what, is such thing as age, race, and sex discrimination. Let me go get some other skills.
Yeah.
So this opportunity crosses my desk and I read it and I'm like, I could do this, I think. But I'm going to go in there and tell him I can do it. Right.
Oh, for sure.
So I called Mr. Larry Morgan and I said, Mr. Morgan, my name is Robin Morgan Billups. We could be some kin. And he goes, well, Robin, I'm a 6'6" white guy from Cincinnati, Ohio. And I said, well, my grandfather, George Morgan, was a petite little white Irishman. He married a big old chocolate Amazon woman, and the rest is history, And so he said, oh, I have to send for you. So I went to Cincinnati and interviewed with him in the hotel.
Yeah.
And he made me an offer right then and there.
Wow. Right? That's amazing.
But the beautiful thing is he was chief procurement officer. So everybody reported up through him, and he was bringing supplier diversity under his tutelage, right?
Yes.
And what you know is that supplier diversity is supply chain inclusion. That's all
right.
It is.
That's right.
That's all it is. It's supply chain inclusion.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing, man. That now you see why I'm telling you that you got to have that book, because all this stuff you're telling us, man, these are nuggets.
I told him that as well. That's why he's forcing. That's why he's insisting that you have your book as well.
Well, I think the 3 of us could do something, though. Seriously. I really do. So. Crystal and I have been talking about that. When she asked me to join her on the community briefing, I was honored. Yes. But I said to her, I won't do commercials. If it's for commercials and for politicos to come on there when it's time for them to get reelected, then I can't do it.
Right.
If the mission, which is what her mission was, if the mission is to impart information and resources so that when people hang up, like when they hang up today, they should be able to use some of the nuggets, as you mentioned, Gilbert. They should be able to use these nuggets and go get something done.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I give her flowers so much, man, because when COVID started, the epidemic, got launched and big and everybody started getting afraid and staying home and all of that, she was the one who stood up and said, hey, I'm not going to just lay down and die and let them feed us all this bogus information. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get the right information and pass it on to the people. Yes. She did that. Nobody else. I don't see anyone else in any other community, any other state doing that. She did it, right? And she galvanized this group. She galvanized you, Greg, Stephen, and everybody. And you guys were able to get people who were experts in those areas to come and speak to it. And that to me was amazing, man. That's amazing. Well, and I see you the same way, Robin.
Well, you know what I'm just enamored with her.
Yeah.
Because she's enamored with Dr. George Fraser.
Yeah.
And, he's been my businessman crush forever. And strictly because every word out of his mouth, he's bowling strikes. Every word he's bowling. He is batting 1,000. He's bowling strikes. He deeply cares about us.
Yes, he does.
And as he said, you have to learn until the Lord sends you, calls you home, right? You have to expose yourself until the Lord calls you home. Yeah.
And
you know
so, go
ahead, Krista.
No, it's okay.
You know, Robin, it's amazing. So in 2021, December 2021, I got hit with COVID. I know how I got hit.
We've been praying for you, brother.
It really broke my heart. Thank you for that. I really appreciate you. And I was in the hospital. I was laid up in the bed. And all I could think about, Robin, is did I ever help all the small businesses that I was supposed to help? And if I do get a chance to walk out of here, how much more I need to do for these small businesses. You see what I'm saying? That's all I thought about on the back. I wasn't thinking about, anything else like some other people when, they figure, okay, I'm going to die. And I'm thinking about small businesses because I knew I'm here for a purpose, just like you and Crystal. We're here for a purpose.
Gilbert, what you did is October 2021, I had a crisis with my non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Yeah.
And I was in a hospital for a month.
Wow.
And my other business partner, Michael Anderson, introduced me to a colleague, a friend of his that was at the City of Hope. And I met this woman in 2 weeks. I was at the City of Hope. Wow. And when I went through that crisis, I said, I've known God since I was 10 years old. Mm-hmm. And I said, when I got to the gate, because I was intubated, ventilated, coma. I mean, I'm talking really bad.
You were ready.
I was at the gate. I had to go to the gate.
Dang.
And when I got to the gate, I said, you told me to, this I talk to God just like, you told me to tell you the desires of my heart. You're not ready for me and I'm not ready for you. You done gave me a husband, kids, grandkids, and this community work that I do, and I'm not finished. However, I am a nevertheless girl. So if I got to come in, bring me now. I don't want to be laying up in here, everybody, crying over me and all of that.
Right.
And he sent me back. And to your point, we know why we're here.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He said to go to the highways and the byways and the hedges and especially those who are the least of us.
Yes.
And and when I was preparing for this, I've been collecting up articles. I got 12 million of them. But the one that I really wanted to bring to the forefront, according to research from Brookings, Black-owned women businesses increased 18.14% between 2017 and 2020, outperforming women-owned businesses at 9% and Black-owned businesses at 13%. And this thing goes on to say, Black women are the fastest growing demographic of entrepreneurs in the country. Black women are widely talented, but are less included in traditional corporate opportunities.
That's true.
So when I look at my background with 25 plus years in commercial real estate experience, if I wanted to go back into the industry, I probably couldn't. I probably couldn't. Because I'm confident.
Yeah.
I'm a thoroughbred.
Yes.
What tends to happen in the marketplace today, people hire you and then they want to micromanage the weeds.
Yeah.
And that's why Crystal got out when she got out.
Yeah.
Because you start to see that. And so what I tell these young women is be purposed while you're in there so that you have an exit strategy. But before you enact that exit strategy, make sure you got everything you were supposed to get while you were there.
While you were there. And it's so important to do that. And yes, I got out because I knew, like you, I knew my journey was going to be an entrepreneur. And I just had to trust in the Lord to let him, when I walked away, like, okay, I'm following you. And so therefore you need to make this work because this is what I'm doing. But I also knew that, one, I was a horrible employee because they wanted to pigeonhole. You got to know your weaknesses, girl.
Actually, I don't think you're a horrible employee. I think you recognize that you're an entrepreneur, and there's no way you're going to fit into that box that they're trying to.
Right. I couldn't fit in the box. I couldn't operate within those little bitty tiny boxes. I'm just too big for the box. And so I had to get out the box. But I did acquire a lot in learning how to navigate with how other people work within the box, right? So it helps me in helping small businesses make that transition from being an employee to an employer, which is a big thing for that to happen. Robert, so based upon who we are and what we've learned in our journey, what do we see as some of the challenges that women have today, and what are some strategies they can use to overcome those challenges in order to be role models? I think everyone should operate with like we do. There's got to be a give back. There's got to be a give back before we leave this planet. Just like Gilbert says, have I done everything that I was supposed to do? You have said that before, and you've been there, so you really understand that. Some of us talk in theory, but you actually have been there.
Been there, yeah.
And so, what are some of those challenges, and then what are some solutions or challenge strategies they can use that they can use?
Well, I said for 2024, I'm no longer going to focus on the challenges.
Okay.
I'm going to look at them from a gap standpoint, right?
Okay.
We got some gaps in the way in how things are done, right?
Okay.
Because all of the other ethnic groups now have decided that they're going to raise up too, right?
Yeah.
So nobody wants to hear about the challenges of the folks who are truly the foundation of the human race. And on the foundation, I truly believe that we are the moral compass for humankind, right? And so that's why I'm saying I'm going to look at the gaps. So some of the things that I think are critically important is you have to do your homework. You have to do due diligence. You have to do research. And the beautiful thing about being in the marketplace today, the girlfriend named Google,
wow,
that girl got all the information you need. And now they've added AI on top of that, and that chat GI, whatever that thing is, GPT, they've provided you with a set of tools that you don't have to start from scratch.
No, you do not.
But you have to own the fact that that's just research information provided by a human being, right? Yes. It's not the computer providing you with information. The computer is kicking out the information that a human being input in there, right? And so you have to spend time getting yourself educated. You have to spend time honing a relationship with a bank before you need to borrow the money, before you need a credit card, before you need to buy a house. You need to find that banking relationship, Because as you guys talk about every week, there is a team of individuals that if you haven't interviewed them and vetted them, and so that when you need them, you're ready to just pull them off the bench. But what tends to happen is people wait till their hair is on fire. Mm-hmm. Then they call Gilbert, then they call Crystal, then they call Robin. Yeah. And with that, now I'm the question asking fool. I'm going to ask you 85 questions. Yeah. And I don't want you talking, women. I don't want you talking. I want you answering the question, and I want you listening. Yeah. I need you to listen to the answer. Yeah. But Dr. Brazil used to run a college prep program out of Fame. And one of the things he said is he always used to say, answer to the call of the question. Yeah. Don't do like No 45. Don't do like these news people do nowadays. Nobody talks the news. They're talking about what they did for the weekend. And, did you experience that? No, this is news. This is supposed to be information that you're to impart to me. And then the other thing is, I think it's so critical this is making me crazy. You have to take notes. Yeah. Oh, you have to take notes, and you have to put stuff in writing. Yeah. Now, if they don't put it in writing, then you memorialize it and send it to them. Because when this mess hit the fan, you got your notes.
That's where the accountability comes in.
That's where the accountability comes in. Yeah. Because we don't have enough money to file enough lawsuits to cover to get the equity that we need, right? But as my friend Minnie Gant used to say, she ran loan administration in several of the companies that I work for. We used to go with each other. You know how it is. You find the right people that you can work with, girl. They got a position over here. I need you to come on over here. Yeah. But Minnie was from Mississippi, and she used to always say, put the pencil to their butt. Mm-hmm. That means write it down, document it, so that when you are called, when you put up for charges, I will pull up this little book right here, and I will say on September the 7th of 2023 at 3:30, I list who all was in the meeting. And they comment. I put their initials by the comment. Yeah,
yeah. and Robert, that is so true. I worked in a company, and I think it was a setup from day one, because the controller brought me in, and I think the owners were they didn't really want him to do that, and so they had a problem with their software. Their accounting software was just crap. It was just really just crap, and so they had this their accounts receivable problem, and every time you get the information into the system, it would crash, and then it would leave out everything, right? So when I came in, the person before they let that person go, because that person couldn't accomplish what they wanted, was to clear up all their accounts receivable. When I came in, I'm like you, very detailed, very compliant, very rigid when it comes to accounting. There's rules and regulations, and so I would go back and I do my research. It's like, well, wow, this person has been called 4 or 5 times on the same issue. What's the problem? Why are you guys? And it's showing in the system that it's still open. But then when I would call the people, they're like, no, I paid that. This is like the 9th call you guys have made to me. So finally I went to them and I said, look, you need to change your accounting system. It keeps crashing. So it no longer, all the information is garbage. And they were like, no. So of course I could fast forward. They're ready to fire me. It's like, dude, no. Let me bring you my folder with the number of calls that I made. Every time it crashes, I have my notes, I have my times, I have my everything. I said, so if you're going to fire me, that's fine. But no, it ain't the people. It's not the human power. It's the fact that you don't want to invest in getting a new system or upgrading that system so it will work. So I'm not gonna walk away here. You telling me is another person didn't work? No, this person did work. So here's my info, and I'm gonna leave this with you. But I got my copies too.
Exactly.
You gotta have your receipts.
You have your receipts.
You have to have receipts.
I have your receipts.
And so as they enter, I think that at this point, and Crystal is doing this, we need to get these guys in the 5th grade.
Yeah.
We start, in our family, we start talking resume in the 5th grade.
Yeah.
So that you learn how to narrate success. So that you learn how to communicate in an environment where they're not necessarily wanting you to be there.
Yeah.
But the value add that you bring makes them have to really, really question, oh, wait a minute. I don't think we want to do that. You know? And so, and the other thing that I will say is this: when your gut starts telling you something is up, that's the spirit talking to you.
Yes, it is.
And when you don't listen to that, and then the next thing you know, they telling you to get your purse and your keys because we no longer need your services. And you didn't prepare. You didn't prepare. You didn't prepare for that exit that they're providing you. And so again, I think that it's you have to have this banking relationship. And in doing that, part of that to me is being a part of an SBDC, Small Business Development Agency, and also for being a part of a CDFI, the Community Development Finance Institute. These CDFI is set up by the banks to get you ready to be bankable. And their underwriting criteria is a lot more flexible than a rigid regulated banking institution. And so again, you know, they're using this language that common sense isn't common anymore. Common sense isn't common because people don't use their common sense. It's after the fact that they say, oh, wow, you know, I was thinking about that. And I was thinking about calling you about that. You know, well, when you're thinking that, that's the spirit telling you you need to make a move. Make that call.
And I also think that you should be in tune to that, not just lackadaisically walking around thinking that you're protected by some unseen protection guide. You need to. So here's my thing. So that I did make sure of, even though I knew that was going to be my space. I made sure that I was one of the most important people as far as knowledge and information on the property, that people came to me because I had the resources. And it usually is demonstrated. A lot of people take this as an insult, but when they start sending new people to you because they know you got the information, that means you have value. And it's just how you distribute that value, and then to make sure they understand, you know, that you're valuable. So when you leave, so when I left the world that I did work in, that company came to me as a client. And I made them an offer they couldn't refuse. And I'm like, okay, we both know you're going to be calling me afterwards when I leave here, because I'm the keeper of the information. So you have to be the keeper.
Well, you know, all companies have their own culture and their processes and all of that. So really what you have to do is set up your own culture and your own process, right?
Right.
And so when Crystal, that was a very valid point that I was talking to my younger sister earlier today about this. Our moms did that number on us. You know, you're not going to say, because people say you're so directional. Because Rose was one of those people. Don't tell me it's the house with the white house with the tree in front of it. Is it on the north side of the street or the south side of the street? Are you heading west? You know, so she was that kind of dictator, kind of educator.
See, that is a good thing, because a lot of women don't think like that. They when it comes to directions, they don't think like that. So for her to be thinking like that, that's a visionary right there, man.
No question. You know, the other thing that I wanted to say too, you have to create allyship, right? Every environment that you work in, there is somebody there that you can glom onto, that you can bring something to them, they bring something to you, and you create that kind of relationship that allows you to, I certain people, I'm like, girl, I need 10 minutes, I need 15 minutes. Crystal, I just need 5 minutes. Sometimes it's just a vent. Because if you vent, then they get you back on course, right? Or if it's this is what I'm going through, and then she will minister to me, and that's what I call it. She will minister to me to get me back on course, you know. And one of the other things that I want us to stop saying, old school. Because it's the school. You know, when you think about if you were in school anytime in the 70s back, and I'm talking 79 back, no matter where you went to school, how old the building was, how old the books were, you got a solid education. You got a solid education. So
I'm gonna make my effort effective today,
yeah,
not to say old school anymore,
it's
because you're
the
right.
school. It's
It's
the
the
school.
school. Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys, I don't know if you're reading this, but lately, in my hearts of heart, I've always wanted to own a charm school.
Oh, I think that's
Because I
excellent,
truly
man.
believe that people need professional etiquette,
Mm-hmm.
business etiquette,
Yeah.
personal etiquette,
That's
right?
true.
And so now I just read last week on LinkedIn, they're paying $4,000 or $5,000 for people to come in and provide this business etiquette, professional etiquette, because people have learned how to be so lackadaisical, word you use, Gilbert.
Yeah.
They've been so lackadaisical about their persona,
Yeah.
the way they interact with people, the way they carry themselves. I tell young people, young ladies, you don't have to have a date to the prom. Ask one of your guy friends. You guys
Yeah.
go together and go and have a good time.
Have a good time.
But with those things that happen in high school, those banquets, the cotillions, the prom, all of that stuff gets you ready for those business dinners.
Yeah. Yeah.
It gets you ready for that networking environment that you're going to be in.
And make you comfortable to interact and to make connections. That's why I said George Fraser was my guru, because he taught me how to network early. I had the networking skill in place before I really had the business in place, because
No question.
what is it? Before you need them, already have them.
Yeah. Yeah. That is true.
Before you need them. So Gilbert, when the and also when I think when you do that, the earth aligns itself to bring you the people when you need those people, right? So
Yeah.
when I did the and really truly the community briefing was a one-off webinar, and I got a call from Stephen and said, I want in on this. I'm like, what do you want in on? And then, what you just did, is that weekly? It wasn't supposed to be, but okay, let's think about it, because I'm an entrepreneur, man. If there's an opportunity, I know how to jump on the opportunity. And then at that point, Robin, she came in as a co-guest one day. Like, oh, okay, I like that energy. Gotta have with women energy along with the men energy. Yeah, and I'm about collaboration. So
Robin has a lot of resources. I've got a question for you, Robin.
Sure.
This is a question that I've never asked a female guest on this show before. With your knowledge base and your wisdom, I feel you can be someone who can provide us some insight into this. So, you've heard about OnlyFans, right? That's going on out there right now. All the girls, most of the girls are doing OnlyFans. They're sexualizing themselves online, they're becoming sex workers. Right? Have you heard of that?
No.
You've never heard of it?
But I'm listening.
Oh, that's what's going on right now. Most of the young girls right now who they're making 100,000, whatever more, even up to 1 million, is by doing OnlyFans, selling themselves, nude pictures, their bodies are online, having sex online, that type of thing. My question to you is, as a Rui in the community,
I love that.
How do you see? And I'll give you some more background. Some of the women who do that, the OnlyFans, is because they don't want to do any other work. That's easy work for them. They make hundreds of thousands of dollars doing that. How do you see these women moving further into the future by doing OnlyFans, as opposed to being an entrepreneur and doing some real hard work like you and Crystal are doing to help the community and help growth and development and providing knowledge? How do you see them doing that versus the real entrepreneurship?
Well, let me say this, two things. One, I'm not going to be on the judgment seat, but I have an opinion, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I want.
More importantly, folks make decisions based on what they've been exposed to, right? My mother owned a beauty shop.
Yeah.
And in that beauty shop, just like in the barbershop, you get introduced to any and every kind of body, right?
Right.
When we were growing up, the stroll girls, the girls that was on the stroll, and the guy and the pimps that owned them, they still took care of the kids in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Go to school. I'm gonna tell your mama I saw you. You know, they would make sure you went where you were supposed to be.
Yeah.
Now we're in a society that everybody's trying to make a fast dollar, right?
Yeah.
So Gilbert, what they've decided to do, they're not going to let a man control that. Now they're going to be their own pimp, right? So they're very entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
It's just like, you know, folks who rob folks and steal and all of that. They are entrepreneurial, but you have to take that energy and put it in a place where the law isn't looking for you, right? But more importantly, with these young women, I used to be the finest thing walking the room, okay? But it ain't my turn no more, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when you're doing that, you literally are using up your young time period, which is the time that you do your learning, you do your growing, you do your developing, you accumulate the tribe that you need in order for you to move out to what I call next generation activity.
Yeah.
So really and truly, I could see somebody coming from some place where they had nothing, and this is where they saw an opportunity to make money. And then they flip the script and say, okay, I'm only going to do this for this amount of time. And then I'm going to take the money that I've made and do something, you know, legitimate and legal and above board, right?
Right.
But it becomes a thing of this internet thing is killing ethics and morals and standards and families and because these people are in these boxes, just like we sitting in this box right now talking to each other, we can hide from what reality looks like, right? And what they are not thinking about is, if that same chick put on a suit and went to a business meeting, would that guy have a meeting with her?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's just like, you know, when they say when the politicians come to the Black Baptist Church right before election, right?
Yeah.
Now, if we let them come in right before election, whose fault is it?
Right. Exactly.
Whose fault is it? So part of it is, and people say I'm rigid about this kind of stuff, but at some point in your life, it's all on you. It's not where you came from, what you didn't have, what you didn't receive, how you were treated. At some point, you have to develop a moxie in yourself that I'm not going down this road anymore. Yesterday on the news, there was a young man, he's 35 years old. He's teaching himself how to read.
Yeah.
And he's on Facebook. Yeah. And he started out with, like, I think he said like 88,000, whatever crazy number of followers. Now he got over 3 million followers, because think about it. He was person enough to come out and say, this is what I don't have. And I'm not going to school. I'm going to teach myself how to read. He got online and he illuminated it for other folks. And then he's been encouraged by people. So with these women, if they're amenable to it, a sister like myself, a sister like Crystal, the women that we know, the women you know, the guys that you know, we would be willing to help them make that pivot. But at the end of the day, an individual has to want to. See, I truly believe you cannot help an individual till they're ready to be helped. I don't care how much you want to, I don't care how much money you throw at it, I don't care how much time you put into it, until they're ready to receive it. They're on their own.
And I think,
go ahead, Chris.
I think also when you talked about having the charm school, so here's I think the difference between our generation, the new generation. Those were things that our parents, our mother, our aunts, that drummed that into us, the behavior.
Yes.
Right? How you sit, how you eat, how you behave. There's a time and place for everything. There's an outfit for every occasion. And here's what it needs to look like. And you're not leaving my house looking like that. So when we were young girls walking, mini skirts became popular when I was in high school, right? And you're like, no, you're not walking out of my house like that. I'm sorry. And then you're like, but you're not everybody else. You my
Right.
child, right?
Right.
And
Right.
so that voice in the back of your head when you went to church, you didn't go with a skirt up to wherever it was because
Mhm.
that wasn't the place you wore that, right? But today, the internet, and it's good and bad. The internet says I can wear a dress anywhere I want. And also, when you look at the video world, it's telling you, you look at the Beyoncés, you look at the Carly B's, they making big money with everything all out. But are they getting the respect? Because that's the problem. Where does the respect lie when and there's no and my mom used to say this all the time, there has to be an allure. Let the imagination work.
Yes.
You don't expose everything and they don't get to use their imagination.
Yeah.
You dress to with dignity for yourself that and you provide some mystery and allure. But young ladies today are not there. There's no mystery and allure because certain people have said it's okay for you. That behavior has been rewarded. The Kardashians kind of created that behavior, bad press, good press. It doesn't really matter. It's just how we get adorned, right? Whether it's for the good or the bad. But I
Mhm.
mean, that was big in my household.
See, that's where I'm coming from because this
Mhm.
show is about leveling up the playing field,
Mhm.
equaling the play. You see what I mean? So when girls behave like that, where they're selling themselves and sexuality online for money, it might be a lot of money. Yeah, it might be more money than I ever made in a lifetime. I understand. But is it worth selling your soul, though? Is
Mhm.
it worth
But
Mhm.
they
selling your
don't know
soul?
that that's selling
And
their
they
soul.
don't think that far, right? And the
Because it's
thing,
about the money.
yeah, and the thing about it is, a lot of them are talking, I'm an independent woman and independent that, which is just smoke because at some point they're going to need the man to coexist with for certain things, right? And just the fact that they're doing these things, oh, if a man can do it, I can do it. Well, if a man is want to denigrate himself and do all of that, do you want to do that too just to say I'm equal? I mean,
Mhm.
come on.
Yeah.
So
Well,
th-
and you're bringing up some exceptional points, but at the end of the day, you have to decide what
Mm-hmm.
there's a long runway for life, right?
yeah,
You got
Mm-hmm.
a journey that you're on. And when we all look back, we got some periods and some times and some things that we've done that we say, and people that we roll with, and we say to ourselves, Lord have mercy, Jesus Christ, thank you for the mercy and the grace. Because I was somewhere that my mama would have killed me if she had known I was there.
hmm
This could have happened to me and that could have happened to me. I
yeah.
was telling a friend of mine when we were pledging this is my 50th year of being an Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority incorporated.
Really?
All
Yes.
right.
My
Congratulations.
pledge second semester freshman year, we're in the country in college town out in the boonies of Missouri. Missouri is just north of the Mason-Dixon line, right?
Yeah,
Mm.
The big sisters and took us out there, and now we gotta figure out how to get back. We
hmm
hitchhiking.
yeah.
We hitchhiking.
You know
And
that was
and
a no no.
and
Your
while
mama
you're
gave
doing
you
that
that.
in the back of your mind, you're hearing mama's voice, right?
I'm saying, if Lord have mercy, if Rose finds out, remember y'all remember that statement? I'm gonna beat the black off of you.
Uh-huh.
Right. Or if you get killed, I'm
I'm
bring you
gonna
back
kill
and
you.
kill you again for being so stupid. Like
Oh
how
So,
you
yeah.
gonna do
so
that?
I think it's critical for us as people. Which, Crystal, you said this, and one of the things that Bernard Kinsey, when I first met him, because both of my sons went to Florida A&M, and I
Mm-hmm.
became very close to he and Shirley. And one of the things Bernard always said is, leave the ladder down,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
We've let this program. This program is telling people these three people have left the ladder down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now we can't tell you to get on the ladder, but
Right.
if you get on the ladder,
Right.
we're going to be there to help pull you up.
Right.
Yes.
We're going to
Yes.
Exactly.
be there to help pull you up.
And that is
Um,
so
um,
critical that you're saying that because
mhm.
that's the point I was trying to make here that they're going into that area and calling it entrepreneurship. But we know with true entrepreneurship, we're here to provide resources, coaching, helping, connection, like you're doing, Crystal doing her mentorship, she teaches the kids, biz camp and all of that. So all of those things put together, we're saying, hey, if we want to level up the playing field, equal the playing field, here are some resources that we can help you with. Why go over there where you're losing your value, you're losing your respect and all of that just to make some money now, and then in 5 years, you're not going to get that family life and relationship you need.
Here's a prime example. Anglo female who just wrote this book that was Hugh Hefner's last wife. 20-something years old, friend invites her to a party. He picks her out of the crowd. And literally, she said the whole mission for her being there was to prop him up. And now that she's free, she's reflecting on, why did I do that? And why did I think that I could be his savior when I really needed to be saving myself, right?
Right.
And so we're saying to our audience here, your past does not have to look like your future. Your past does not dictate your future. There are so many resources out here, starting with the Business Zone. You guys are doing this every week. Every week, community briefing every Thursday. And the mission is to bring folks who got stripes on their back, gray hair, wisdom and knowledge, that they are freely willing to impart. And I'll say this: you will meet I've met some young women lately, and they were like, Miss Billups, do you mind? I said, baby, you got everything I got, because I see you. I know you and I see you, and I already know what you're about to deal with. So let me help you get prepared for that. You're not gonna miss the hurdles that are thrown at you, but you can be prepared for them.
You can be prepared for them, and that's our purpose. We already understand our purpose on this planet. This morning, and this kind of brings all this together. I posted. Every morning I post 2 or 3 different positive quotes. And so this morning my quote was, if you have the opportunity to do amazing things in your life, bring someone with you. It's time to connect. And that's where we are. We've gone through life. We're on the other side. We're in the 4th quarter of whatever that is, and planting our seeds for what we wanted. Using wisdom, like their mom's small voice in the back of her head, the person that guided us, that taught us, that molded us. And so a lot of times, Gilbert, what we're seeing today, a lot of these young ladies didn't have a rose in their life, and don't have that voice.
And a father figure too.
Yeah, that voice is what kept us out of real.
Believe me.
Go ahead and do that if you want to.
Yep. I've gotten myself out of so much trouble just by hearing that voice.
That voice is like, go ahead and try that. Just try that if you want to. But they didn't have the roses or whoever else is. What was your mom's name? Gilbert, what's your mother's name?
Alethea.
They didn't have Aletheas and whomever in the background telling you that be careful, because you're about to step over that imaginary line right there.
You know what the weird thing was about that, Crystal? Whenever she warns you about something, it always happens. And that's what would scare the heck out of me. She say, hey, you better not go to that dance tonight, And I said, why? Well, you'll find out. And I disobey her. I go to the dance. They shoot up the dance. You see what I'm saying? And I'm going, oh my God, I need to listen.
They were super women. So we're gonna come close the show. Robin, what would you say your superpower is? I ask the kids this all the time.
Persistence.
Okay.
I'm deeply faithful.
Yeah.
No, take that back. I'm deeply spiritual.
Yeah.
Okay.
But my superpower, I think, is being persistent. Consistently persistent. Is that such a word? I don't know.
Yeah, consistently. Gilbert, what's your superpower?
I think my superpower is the ability to be a shepherd because I always want to learn and nurture. So I think that's what it is. Because even when people get upset with me and don't follow my instructions, I'm still inclined to help them. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, they call that unconditional positive regard.
Mhm.
So I always wanted to, like a doctor, right? A doctor, they take this oath to help any patient they can. And even a patient who killed their family members or did harm to them, they still have to help them. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
That's unconditional positive regard. And I have that to my small business population. And, I just feel that way.
Okay. All right. My
How about
superpower is
yours? How about yours? What's yours?
discernment. You know, I
Oh,
have a knack for. I guess it's a heightened intuition,
It's
and
called spirit of discernment.
the spirit of
Yeah.
discernment. So I
Yeah.
think that's mine. So,
yes.
and those are the things that we carry through our lives.
Yes.
I didn't have children, but I passed that on to all the kids that I'm connected with.
Yes.
And resourceful. I
Yeah.
think that's another superpower that I have. And so that's what we have to have in this life. We have to have those of us, and for women to leveling that playing field as a woman, you have to identify what your strengths are.
Yeah.
I want to ask you two ladies this. What words or advice would you have for females who are trying to become entrepreneurs? They're thinking about becoming entrepreneurs, or they're existing entrepreneurs, but they're not doing that well. What words of advice both of you would have?
I tell people all the time, and I tell people just in general, you know, you look at a Nike, you look at these brands that have been highly, highly successful, companies that have been highly, highly successful, mimic what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody said recently they don't like that statement of fake it till you make it. Well, guess what?
Mm-hmm.
We have to.
Right. We all
Yeah.
do it at
We
some
don't, we
point
don't
or
get the
another.
choice not to.
Yeah.
If you're in and you don't, like Crystal said earlier, you don't know everything, but you're there and you're absorbing and you're adding your value add in the areas where you have the strength, but you're also there to listen
Yeah.
and receive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree, and I also just being prepared, doing your research, acquiring as much knowledge as you possibly can, and then I'm gonna close it with get yourself a coach, get
Yeah.
yourself a mentor,
Yeah.
get yourself that person that will help guide you along that pathway.
Right.
Well, and to
Be,
your point, Crystal, when you look at my description, it says assessing,
mm-hmm,
coaching, and getting people to a strategic plan. People will
mm-hmm,
write a business plan, but they don't have any strategy for it,
Yeah.
right? So you have to be more strategically thinking, and that's when Gilbert, or like you said earlier, being in the corporate environment teaches you how do they strategically do that?
Mm-hmm.
Why did
Mm-hmm.
they go that way versus this way?
Yeah.
So,
That's
Crystal,
true.
great point that you need a coach. We all
Yeah.
need to be coached.
Yes.
And I tell people, I'm not the owner, I'm not the general manager, and I might not be the coach of the Lakers, but I want to be on the bench. I want to play offense and defense.
exactly.
I
There you
love
go.
that.
You
And
have to,
and
yeah.
and it's amazing. This bring it back full circle for all of us here, Crystal, because we did a show I think two shows ago where we did revisiting the E-Myth book, and in there they talk about three principles that entrepreneurs need to practice every day in order to be successful. One of them is to be an entrepreneur. One is to be a manager, and the other one is to be a technician. Those three categories provide different results for the business. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So if we embrace the things that was just spoken here today on this show, the things that the Rui Robin has brought to us,
I'm getting that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, the Ruby. and Crystal, it's just amazing that all of those things putting that together, man. How can an entrepreneur fail? How? If we're incorporating all of those things, man. And Robin, man, we gotta have you back on this show.
Anytime.
We gotta have you, man.
Anytime. We're so like-minded and we're so committed to this space.
Yeah.
And Crystal hears me say this all the time. I have 6 grandchildren, 3 girls and 3 boys. So I'm still actively engaged, one, because I want to stay relevant, but 2, because I'm trying to lay tracks for them.
Yeah.
I'm trying to lay some tracks for them.
Yeah, because man, if we left today, it's a little scary for our babies. Yeah. So we got to lay the track so that they will have a pathway and a course that they can follow based upon that voice in the background. So, Robert, before we close out, you got something big happening with Mr. Michael Anderson. Is it announceable or is it still?
Yes, it is, you guys.
Tell us all about it before you leave us.
We are working on a $65 billion request to the federal government. The project is a master plan around the 24 transit corridors in LA County. Within a 1-mile radius of each one of those transit corridors, to refresh the existing housing and add modular units to those sites so that if a person loses their job, they still have cash flow coming in. Those properties are owned by seniors who don't have the funds to remodel their space. So the money that we're requesting is to provide them with up to $300,000 to refresh their property and add these new units and new construction. But in order to be able to do that, we have to fix the infrastructure and we have to make the transit usable. And when you look at the fact that we have all of these major activities coming to Los Angeles and all of the cars that are here, if we can get the transit updated and user-friendly, and we can get the infrastructure updated, and because there are actually wooden pipes in the Black and brown communities.
Really?
Because they're over 100 years old.
Wooden pipes? Wow. Where?
Wooden pipes. So when you look at what Biden has done in his administration, there's transportation money, there's Justice 42 money, there's housing money, there's environmental money, there's pockets of money that will allow us to petition the government with the support of a host of individuals and petition the government to bring that money to our community and improve these neighborhoods, and then folks can go back to where they grew up and live.
Robin, I like that idea for a lot of reasons. One specific reason about that. A lot of homes right now, when they were built, they were built like in the early 1900s or whatever, right? But the replacement value that they have was for that time. It's not for today. So today, if you're building a house, you're spending, $500,000 or $1 to build a regular house. Now, I'm not talking a mansion, right?
Yeah.
So the insurance that covers that is not at the current rate today. It's going to be at the old rate, like, 75, 100 years ago. So I like that program you're talking about because that's going to force them to step up the replacement value. Think about it. If there's a fire in your home right now, the replacement value is going to be what you paid for what it cost when it was built.
Very true.
Very true. So that I like that.
You guys, I really want to come back and talk about this because a couple of things. One, everyone, do not let any insurance lapse. Because the insurance company, car insurance, health insurance, homeowners insurance, business insurance, they're not going to let you back in.
No.
Right.
They're not going to let you back in. No. What you're talking about, Gilbert, is called functional obsolescence.
Yeah.
That property has already lived its expected life.
Yeah.
And so when you hear people say, I want to pay my house off, well, before you do that, pull somebody, you're sitting on top of money. So before you do that, upgrade your roof, your plumbing, the electrical, get the work done that you need to get done. Don't go buy the luxury car, put the money in, invest in the property. Because at the end of the day, the only way you build generational wealth is owning property.
Exactly. Right. And especially if it has those wooden pipes that you're talking about, we need to replace those and put current pipes in there.
Well, and finally, active engagement in our own community, right? Yeah. Go to the city council meeting, go to the planning commission meeting so you can hear what's going on and you can voice your opinion and not be on Nextdoor or Facebook or Instagram talking to somebody who can't do anything about it.
Exactly.
And
vote.
Right.
Now you see why now you see why you've earned the title Arui, right? not just everyone has that title now. You are this community elder who understands. And you know what, Crystal? She doesn't even look like an elder. When I first met her son, and then we start talking, because I met him at LAUSD, right? Because he was working for, I think it was Hansel Phelps or one of those he was working for, right? And when I first met his mom, he said, "Hey, this is my mom." I said, "Well, that's your sister, dude." He said, "No, that's my mom." I could not believe it.
He told somebody yesterday, "I came out of her." I'm like, and the guy looked at him like, "Yeah, that's my big baby. That is my baby."
That's how I met Ken as well with LSUSD.
Yeah, man. We just started vibing since then,
And then the kids have come over to the park. But this has been fantastic. Yes, you got to come back. Michael,
she got to come back.
Can come with you. I think that would be great. Let's make that happen in Black History Month. I think that's a.
You know what, you guys? This whole thing about real estate and what that looks like and how that happens. I think there is a play for me to be able to because again I've been behind the curtain and I the thing about me is I'm the employee that they never sent me to banking school or this leadership training or all of that. So everything I don't know, I learned by the
in the trenches. Yeah.
Reading, connecting, listening, taking notes. So I'm more than willing to revisit that piece. And Michael Anderson and the team that he's put together. Let me just one last thing. McKinsey did an economic study on the development, on the plan. Mm-hmm. They sat to us. McKinsey is a global think tank. Yeah. They said to us, you guys are one of the first set of clients that we've had that participated in truly engaged in the process and then knew what kind of outcome you were looking for. And so the guy said in a talk on December 14th, if this group only does 25% of what they're talking about doing, they've done more than any organization across this country.
Amazing.
Wow.
Amazing.
Because we're not operating in silos. Yeah. We are, Crystal's word, we are collaborating.
That's right.
This allyship. And we've also determined that part of our plan is we're going to hire local. Yeah. So we're selling houses. We want the local broker in that to partner with the big company.
Yeah.
So that the money stays in our community.
Awesome.
The next thing we want to talk to you about when you come back, Robin, is lines of credit for small and micro business. I mean, coming from the banking and, you understand that dynamic back there. I want to see how we can operate out of the box to help these micro and small businesses. So just a little something to think about.
Well, and with that, when we do that, then we need to bring in the CDFIs.
Yes, let's
do
that.
That's the group that was built to get that group, to provide that to them.
Yeah, because maybe we can get Mark in here. Mark from PCR.
Well, Mark or some of his clients. Some of the business advisors. As a matter of fact, I'm one of them. And then
Colette, right? Is it Colette?
Yeah, Colette. And then Quentin Strode from Vermont.
Yeah, Quentin. Yeah.
And excellent banker, and now he's with a CDFI. But there is an African American group of executives that all run CDFIs in the United States. And Crystal, remember we had her on the community briefing, and she's the one that told us that they had created an organization of African American led CDFIs.
Oh, we need to get those all on the
we need to get more involved with Quentin on this. Yeah.
we're gonna have to close out, guys. It's been awesome.
We don't want to leave you, Robin.
What a great Friday.
It's a great Friday. Great way to end the week. And you're my bud, my mentor, my heart. And I am so pleased that you agreed to be here today. And so I hope you guys have all been watching. If not, go on over to our YouTube channel, over to our LinkedIn channel, go to the Business Zone Facebook page, RBD, wherever you want to go get us. We are out there. But most importantly, go over to our YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. And
like our videos, like everyone up there.
And if you like Miss Robin today, hit that like button because she's pretty incredible. I'm going to end the show, and this is specifically for Robin, because this is one of her passions right now. This is a message, a quote from Barack Obama. Mm-hmm. There's no such thing as a vote that doesn't matter. Our vote does matter. Make sure you guys go out and vote March 5th, and make sure you research before you click any buttons to make sure that it is in the best interest of us, our people, our community, and our youth.
And if there are propositions out there on the ballots, guys, I want you to read those propositions carefully and understand what they're about. Crystal, I just looked at my mortgage statement yesterday. My property tax went up. I'm going, what the heck is that? This is a part of those propositions that they sneak on us. You see what I'm saying?
Right, exactly. So
when you vote for some of those propositions, you're voting to tax yourselves. You know?
Exactly. That's what I said. You got to vote with yourself in mind, your children in mind, your community in mind, and the people that look like you in mind. That's how you need to vote. You need to take all those people into the ballot box with you.
If I'm voting to tax myself, then I want to see results. You know, what are they doing for the community? How are you helping us? Are you helping entrepreneurship programs? You know, what are you doing? Because we're just voting to tax ourselves so those guys can get fat.
Yeah. All righty, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Robin. We will see you again soon with Mr. Michael Anderson. I saw him last week at the City First Bank lunch dinner we had. It was awesome. So into the next one. I think you were in cold St. Louis.
St. Louis.
No, so that's why we didn't see you. But Gilbert, you ready to take us out?
Yeah, much respect to you, Robin. I mean, we have a high level of respect for you on this show and in life and in the community. We just want to let you know we really appreciate you blessing us with your presence today. And we can't wait to have you back on. I know February is going to be Black History Month. If we can get you on before that, we want to get you back because we got to talk about those lines of credit.
my last comment.
Mm-hmm.
Gratitude is a memory of the heart. Let's keep making great memories.
Oh, I love that.
I
love that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
With that, guys, we're gonna take you out with our outro, and we're on every Friday from 3 to 4:30. This is the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. And as you know, our job here is to be great stewards and ambassadors of small and micro businesses. We're here to help you guys. We're not here to ostracize you, kill you, harm you, do anything. We're here to help, guys. Okay.
As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program, and control.